dot. Was hanging out at Tops in the Benzo, freestyling to them chronic instrumentals. No pens and pencils, I was out there blood. Turn the beat up. Yeah. New York, New York, wake up LA. Wave high to the shy, let's get right today.
All I ever asked is one.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Carlos, and thank you for tuning in to Music Monday. If you have not already done so, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and thanks to those of you who already have. Today, we are talking about The Game. Yes, the rapper The Game, not the TV show. His career started about 10 years ago, actually, and he has released a sequel to his debut album, The Documentary, called The Documentary 2. Now, along with that, he's also released the documentary 2.5. So this is really a 2-disc set that he has here. And I heard so many good reviews about the documentary 2.0 that I decided, I'll listen to documentary 2.5 first. So I listened to these in reverse order. And when I listened to 2.5, I was like, dang, this cannot be it. You know, after 10 years or the sequel for this debut album, this is his 6th studio album. I just couldn't believe it. You know, it's very street, at least the 2.5 is. There's a lot of guest artists. Just on that disc alone, there are 30 guest artists. So, I mean, he's got guest artists all over the place on that CD. And it's just, I'm not from the streets. I'm not of the streets. I don't go outside my window shooting at folks. I mean, I can't relate to that. Now, I will say there are some rappers who have a way of telling a story that makes you feel like you're in the story, not really of the story, but, you know, it makes sense. Maybe you don't agree with what they're saying, but you can say, okay, well, they're telling the story so well, I can see how they did that, or I can see why they were involved in that. With this, it's just too deep for me. I mean, I just can't get into it. The CD, I would say, picks up a little bit. I really didn't start enjoying it, honestly, until about track 10. There were a few songs on there that are good. There's a song with DJ Quick that he has. And there aren't any songs where it's just The Game rapping. I mean, it's almost like the guest artists kind of overpower his presence. And not to say that he doesn't bring his own flavor and his skills to it, but it was too many guest artists for me. And the last song on there is called Life. Now, that's one of the best songs on the album, and it also features a sample of Whitney Houston's Saving All My Love, I think is the song that he used. He has a lot of samples on here between the two albums. And on the 2.0, now I will say that CD is jamming. Very worthy of all of the positive reviews that I've seen about it. And he actually has debuted at the number 2 spot on the top 200 albums chart. Came in just behind Selena Gomez's new album, Revival. So he sold over 90,000 copies. And the way, if you all don't know, the way the Billboard tracks these album sales now, album streams are also counted into play, as well as pure album sales, those who have actually gone out and purchased the album on iTunes or in the store or what have you. So with just album sales, he had about 85,000, I believe, and then the rest of it made up with the streams. So great job there. And, you know, some pretty big numbers, especially considering that the music numbers are just down in general as far as sales go. But on that first CD, I mean, it's just the right balance. And this is 2.0 I'm talking about. It's just the right balance of street. And I won't really say there's any pop songs on here, but I would say mainstream hip-hop, you could call it. And he has, between the two CDs, I mean, I can't even list all the guest artists, but everybody's on here basically except for 50 Cent. And he says, even on one of the songs, that he says everybody makes mistakes, and he says, look at me and 50 Cent. Now, I don't really know exactly what the beef was with him and 50 Cent. I didn't really keep up with that too much. But for those who don't know, he was also Dr. Dre's protege. So when Game came out, he had a lot of backing from, number one of the hottest producers, or the hottest producer really on the West Coast, Dr. Dre, and then the hottest rapper in the game at that time, which was 50 Cent. So he had a lot of backing behind him. Plus, he has skills. You know, I don't think you can take that away from him. He really is a great rapper. So before your Kendrick Lamar's, before your J. Cole's, all those people really got big. You know, there was the Game here 10 years ago who was also breaking down doors for other rappers to come after him. And, I mean, like I said, everybody, I'll just give you all just a short list of who all's on this album. There's Puff Daddy, Kanye, Drake, Q-Tip, Fergie, will.i.am. will.i.am actually produced 3 of the album's tracks, and he's featured on a couple of them too. Jelly Roll, there's, the list just goes on and on. There's so many people on here. And he has a little bit of a 90s nostalgia. I think there's more so on the 2.0 disc than the 2.5, although there's a little bit of that on there too. There's a skit where he uses TLC's Creep in the background. Then there's the song On Me with Kendrick Lamar, one of the best songs on there, that samples Erykah Badu's On and On. He even samples Brandy's I Want to Be Down on a song called Step Up, which a lot of people, when they hear it, you'll think, oh, he's sampling the Tupac song I Get Around. Well, Tupac actually sampled that song too, so it's the same sample, but, you know, he didn't really take that from Tupac. But he meshes both of those together, which I think came out really nice. So, anyway, both of these CDs are worth listening to. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'll say if you're not really into that hardcore, grimy street music, I'd say bypass the 2.5. But the 2.0 is jamming. You know, just like there were, I think, 5 million copies sold of the documentary. You know, in this day and age, people don't really reach those kind of numbers anymore. But when it's all said and done, I'm pretty sure that the Game is going to sell at least 3 million. Those are my projections. I would say, about, if not this time next year, maybe the next year and a half, I wouldn't be surprised if that's his total number. But let me know what your thoughts are on that, on the Game, him as a rapper, and also his new CD, the documentary 2.0, as well as the documentary 2.5. And also, one thing I do want to throw in here that I did mention earlier, Dr. Dre, I mentioned, one of his mentors, or basically founded the Game. And he is on this album as well, so that's kind of cool to get to see them reunited, because they kind of fell off a little bit too after the Game's first 2 albums. But he is back and featured on this new project. Also, in other music news, make sure you check out my review of the Empire Top of the Throne. What that is for those of you who watch Empire, you know that every episode has its own set of songs, or own EP, if you will, of songs that have been released that season. So now we're four episodes in, and I'm basically just giving the top 3 tracks that I feel are the best so far of those 4 episodes. So definitely weigh in on that. Check it out. Again, it's called Empire Top of the Throne. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in this week, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.